Greetings, YouTube. This is your good friend, the Armchair Philosopher, aka Fragments of Memory. We'll strike that, reverse it. I'm responding to Jasen Stl's video, Religion, question mark. Now, I preface what I'm about to say with this statement. Although I disagree with where you're coming from, I respect you. I respect you on the grounds that you sought and searched. And if this is the answer that you've come with for right now, then so be it. But I respect the fact that you did go out and search and do your research. And you struggled within yourself to come to the conclusions that you're coming to. And I believe this is not an arbitrary thing, and I believe this was not just some random deciding. Now, a little bit about me. I think you and I are similar in the fact that both of us have come from a Christian upbringing. I myself came from a Protestant evangelical church upbringing, and I'll tell you that right now. I went through my stage of, and I questioned my faith too. I went through my thing where I questioned my faith. I don't think I questioned the existence of God, but I did question the validity of the religion that I was worshiping to. And my question was more, which God should I pray to? Not necessarily, is there God at all? Now, I went through my own personal journey as well. I studied different religious belief systems, philosophies, whether it was New Age, whether it was Afrocentric, whether it was self-help. And I went through my own personal search. I've even walked a labyrinth. I've even dabbled in things like yoga and meditation. I even knew people that were either into tarot card readings and the like. Now, I'm currently a Muslim. I don't really broadcast that due to the fact that I'm not a perfect Muslim. And I know you mentioned in your vid about people who say I'm not perfect, but they think that merely by believing in some faith, they are somehow magically guilt-free. Well, true, I've seen hypocrisy in my own personal life in the church. I will admit that. I will admit that on many occasions, the girl that talked about how she was saved and sanctified was one big old hoish girl. Or the dude that talked about he was saved was promiscuous. Or let's not even take it to a sexuality thing. Let's take it to growing up. I remember going to church, and I remember one old lady that I knew and respect, and she's no longer with us. And I remember being sad when she passed on. But she was a good one to gossip after a church service, after we done talked about praising the Lord and so on and so forth. She was good enough to, she'd be talking about praise the Lord, but then gossip about you. I've been in situations where I've just seen the hypocrisy in Christianity. I've seen some hypocrisy in Islam. I knew a brother who speaks fluent Arabic, and he says I'm Salafi, but every time I see him, he's talking about how he wants to chase a skirt all the time. So that amazes me. He's quick to tell you what's sunnah and what's not sunnah and what's halal and what's haram, but he's the first one talking about I'm gonna do this, that, and the third with this chick over here, and I'm gonna do this, that, and the third with this chick over there. So I've seen hypocrisy in the very religion I follow now. But number one in that regard, I recognize that many people's practice falls short of their precepts. I don't think it makes them any less one who is trying to live out the truths of their faith. But I do see it as someone who has weaknesses that they must overcome. I would also respectfully disagree with you on the whole it's up to you to make things happen. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that man is not a free moral agent, that he does not have free will. I'm just saying that there are some things that happen outside of the realm of your control. You don't control whether you fall down a flight of stairs or whether you get into a car accident. Some things are just outside of our control. We didn't even control when we got here, when we were born. We don't even control when we'll die. And we didn't even create the world that we're in. We just were born into the world already created and made. And I don't believe the world came through by random chance. I do believe that there was a creator, a supreme being, a divine being who created everything and who controls and guards and nourishes and nurtures it from its beginning to its completion. So that is a belief I hold in my heart. And yes, it's true that some religions are man-made, that many have put their spin on the way the universe works. But I personally believe that there are those that are inspired by God, that have divine revelation from the Creator, and they show us the way. Or at least they give us the teachings to show us the way. Now, and really this isn't me trying to convert an atheist into a believer. That's not my purpose, because I realize those are your convictions. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on the situation. What else? I do think it was foul that this woman was that woman you mentioned that was preaching to you or preaching to the congregation. That same woman that was talking that all that noise about thus saith the Lord and this, that, and the third dissed you simply because your clothing wasn't up to the par of that particular environment. That I think is foul. Speaking as someone who believes in a religion, who belongs to an organized religion. I do believe that religion has been both a boon and a bane to mankind. But I lean it has been more of a boon than a bane. Yes, the topic is controversial. But it doesn't mean we can't speak about it civilly. Because whether agree or disagree, I must say that you are an intelligent and insightful individual, and I thoroughly enjoy the vids that you have been putting out. Even this one, I think. And I also think it's good that one should challenge the worldviews that they are brought up with. Because if your worldview cannot stand up to some scrutiny, then you ain't got much of a worldview. Well, I'm gonna go into part two because I'm kind of liking where my train of thought is going. So this is the end of part one, and I'm gonna be doing part two in just a bit. Take care.